Hey guys, Mike here from Lunch Money Comics. I'm back in Brimfield, Massachusetts, and this time I brought a hunting buddy.
Yes, Jeff from Comic Spa.
Jeff from Comic Spa. So we have twice the amount of eyes, twice the amount of experience, and actually 3 times the amount of experience, because you're much older than me. You're never going to press another book. So let's see if we can find some comic books, guys.
Sounds good.
Very easy.
I can find out exactly what it is. Understand? Some pretty good shape, actually. All right, thank you very much. Good deal. Love this place. Oh yeah, love these.
200 with a soft case. Celebrity.
Yeah, I'm actually surprised it's not all warped. He's
Yeah, no, the neck is really
Here's the Marvel stuff here.
Yeah, I saw the Spider-Man in there.
any other cars or what?
Yeah, I don't want to go up.
Oh yeah.
If I sold it, cool. If not, I have
What do you collect if you buy it?
I fix them with there.
Oh, okay.
So whenever I see
It gets pretty hard.
So it's
I
good.
still have stuff.
That's good for you. Yeah.
you want to be hit hard. You want
Yeah,
Yeah, no, I know. But then I feel bad when during the week, later in the week, people come. But I'm here to sell, and so.
Well, that's the thing. Towards the end of the week, everybody knows sometimes they can get deals, and they still come. It's just low
That's a
deals.
good one too. It's in pretty good shape too.
Really very, really good shape. Prices are on the back. I
Yeah.
think.
Oh, this is my favorite. I love this cover.
Oh, that's a nice one. Oh, it's such a
Go ahead,
good
go for it.
shape.
That's a good cover.
Yeah. The colors are really still going on there.
Where's the on that? On the back, the price of the $70. Man, it's all over the place. There's no organization.
Looks good for you?
Yeah.
Thanks.
Is Alex Ross, Jeff?
Yeah, those are Alex Ross.
Oh, those are cool.
Snag him when you see him.
Thank you very much.
They're super good.
Is it more over there? I can see some over there.
Oh, they're buried. Oh, look at that. We got some. Oh, it's in rough shape.
Oh, that's
Neat. Yeah.
He's priced to sell, I guess.
I've not seen those other ones.
Those are wicked cool, I know.
That's the thing, nostalgia for me. Like when I start going these places, you see the stuff you haven't seen in a long time, toys you play with, or whatever. Someone had a Robert Sutton robot at one time. I was so tempted to buy it because it played out like crazy.
It's strange.
How you doing?
Anywhere from $3 to $40.
Whoops. So right now we're going into Maze Market. It's one of the smaller flea markets. It opens at 9 o'clock sharp. And you can get some really good deals here, which is why everybody rushes in all at the same time. Let's see if we can find some comic books. Here we go. Cool. Elephant number 1.
So for you, it's just books and stuff, or everything?
He cooks everything.
Somebody had just had a whole bunch of Star Wars stuff.
Spider-Man.
Sucker for that stuff. But sometimes we'll overpay just because.
He has some pretty good stuff, actually. These are vehicles I've never seen before, you know.
Well, the big thing is now I'm like cleaning those vehicles.
Oh yeah?
And getting them all nice and white.
How's that going?
Great. They look. People love them when I do them.
Yeah.
Hey, Let's Play Comics.
Hey man.
See, that's not something I throw around.
Dude, that's,
When you would be thinking about
and
it.
that's nothing for him.
He's gonna be divorced.
Yes. I like this book. That's cool. Tower
Maybe
Shadow.
even for a grand I'd be divorced.
I guess you don't know your limit until you test them out.
It's not the old one, it's a new one.
Oh, okay.
You gotta look.
All right, let me get
So that one's signed. That's signed.
Sweet, well signed.
Sign $100. My comic books is my downfall.
Yeah, join the
I
club.
have over 8,000 at home.
Wow.
Oh yeah, that is a downfall.
I bought 800. I bought 400 yesterday.
Yeah, that's a good amount.
Those are for me. I don't know. A couple might go up to be sold.
Jeff, we get some signed Micronauts. I can't tell who it is though.
Really? Ooh, I'll take one.
That set. How about 150? Why? Good price?
Hmm?
What?
I'm not sure what that is.
What?
What'd you get, Jeff?
I got an art germ.
Archer, nice. Is it
I think it's
signed?
signed.
Yeah.
Sergeant Peppers. Oh, that's cool. So I've never seen these He-Man cells before. That's awesome. A little pricey. Orko's cool. So this is definitely the summer session of Brimfield because it's still early in the morning and it is hot. It's already up in the 80s, really humid, so just gotta keep hydrating and keep on moving. We got a lot more ground to cover. Look what Jeff found. Oh yeah. All right, Dave, start digging, buddy. Tomb Raider, I like the Tomb Raiders. That's just the gallery.
Yeah, that's correct.
Something. Love that from 2099. You interested in that? It's up your alley?
Oh, wow, to read it, yeah.
There you go. Oh, that's cool.
This is my sister's.
Yeah.
So this is Brimfield, guys, a mile-long stretch of road, flea markets all along it, as far as the eye can see, more than anyone could possibly look at in a day. And each of these fields go back, so yeah, you can't see it all, but it's fun to try. Nice. How much is the yak face?
12.5.
Yeah. Wow. Wow. All right, so Jeff has never seen the truck full of comic books. So you're in for a treat, Jeff. You're gonna meet other Jeff. I gotta start digging again, guys. Such a cool experience. Nice.
Nice.
So yeah, so I need to get a whole bunch of 2099 number ones.
Well, there's one of them. That's a newsstand.
Yeah, there's a newsstand. Yep.
Wow.
So I'm gonna get a whole bunch for Chad. He wants me to ship them to him. So.
Yeah, he told me, but unfortunately, I come over and buy a bunch of them.
So this is stuff evidently I have not seen. Newish stuff that wasn't even here the other day. He had it stored way back in the truck and didn't take it out. So let's see what we can find.
It's right on the river. And
Yeah.
I've been to some of the shows.
It's
and I
in
know the
okay
guy
condition
that
there.
owns it. He's a good friend of mine. I got a bunch of different music. I do all types of stuff.
All right, this is what Chad wants here.
I'm doing it for years. I'm very versatile when it comes to music. You know what Star Wars Sapphire is? What is it?
I always like this cover.
Oh yeah, that's still. I think it's still pretty popular.
Yeah.
Sold $600 a cheap.
You can do
That's
that.
yeah.
I also had guys buy a lot of Spidey, and I had one guy buy 2.
How many Micronauts number ones are there?
So we got 3 altogether, and this one's a little rougher, so I didn't bother with that.
You love your
I love
Micronauts.
my Micronauts, yeah.
All right. This guy good stuff over there too.
Yeah, yeah.
Just hitting the leg.
Four copies of Simpson number one.
I saw those, yeah.
One, two, three, four.
Oh,
Jeff.
man, yeah. And I've got like 4 of
For
those
Los Angeles,
right now.
yeah.
Yeah, oh my gosh.
All right, back in the truck here. Get the goodies here. Oops. Raise the Last Ark. That's a little beat up. Oh, one of my favorites. Yeah. Oh, I always like that cover.
Well, hey, my buddy.
Yeah, first appearance of Hope Summers. I've been looking for this one. Nice. Built up quite the stack here. Oh, there you go. First spot. Might be able to get that cheap. I don't know. Pack 1. It's actually a pretty good box here. More Spawn ones. Marvel one. Classic. All right, Jeff, once again, thanks, man. Really
Thanks, buddy.
appreciate it. See you next time.
Take care.
Have a safe drive back.
Thank you, sir.
All right, guys, that's a wrap on Brimfield Day 2. I think we did pretty good.
Yeah, someone's got a handful.
Yeah, I have I have some comic books to show you guys when we get home. So let's go back and I'll show you guys everything that I got. So there you go, guys. That was day 2 of me hunting for comic books at the massive Brimfield Flea Market, one of the largest flea markets in the world. It's just way too big of a place for any one person to cover by themselves, so I brought along a friend, Jeff from Comic Spa. Jeff is the best comic book cleaner and presser that I know. I don't let anyone else touch my books. But all joking aside, he really is incredibly knowledgeable. He's been collecting comic books for a long time. He knows everything about, comic book writers and artists and the storylines, but also because he works on comic books, he knows everything about condition, and he can just glance at a comic book and tell you, its condition, its value. He's a great person to have along and have a second set of eyes at this flea market. But we actually had a third set of eyes. We also met up with Dave from Bell City Comics. Dave's another New England comic book collector. He's also a dealer I've met through the Connecticut comic book shows. And he was actually going to Brimfield for his very first time. So it's a huge place, guys, and it can be very intimidating the first time you go. I told him I'd meet up with him, sort of show him the ropes where everything is. And Dave is also a toy collector. He loves old Star Wars toys. So you guys saw some of that in the footage. He was definitely in his happy place. So we have 3 people, 3 sets of eyes of these, comic book collectors. Surely we saw all the comic books in this flea market. No way. We probably saw about a third of this flea market. That's just how big it is. There were entire fields, entire flea markets in their own right that we had to skip. We didn't have time to look at. That's how big it is. On top of that, you guys saw all that footage I showed you, all those comic books. I cut out 75% of my footage. I originally had 1 hour of comic book footage. That just gives you an idea, I hope, of how much stuff there is to actually look at. And in the interest of time, I had to cut all of that. So in that interest of time, let's just jump into it, guys. If you want to support the channel, head on down, like, comment, subscribe, follow me on Instagram under Lunch Money Comics IG. Let me show you guys what I got on my second day hunting at Brimfield. So I'm gonna go through these books rather quickly, starting with ones I got for $1, and this is a great one to start with. This is a Peanuts comic book from the 2012 Emerald City Comic Con. Emerald City, of course, being Seattle. You can see the Space Needle right there. And this jumped out to me for a couple of reasons. One, the cover is awesome. It shows Snoopy on top of his World War I fighter plane, his house really, probably fighting the Red Baron. Just a great cover. But also you see it's signed. We have 2 signatures on it and a remark on the bottom of Charlie Brown saying, "Good grief, William." I didn't actually know who signed this. I had to open up the front cover to see who worked on the book and figure it out. But it's signed by Matt Whitlock, who was one of the artists in this book and also did this convention exclusive cover, and Shane Houghton, who was one of the writers. So I just thought this comic book was awesome looking, and when I brought it home, my daughter loved it. I actually think this is one of those books that'll go on my shelf somewhere. I just really, really like it. And the little Charlie Brown at the bottom, I just got a kick out of it. So really cool book to pick up for $1. These next two here, I knew Jeff would like. Jeff is a big Alex Ross fan. These are two Alex Ross covers. I sort of just flashed it to him, and he's like, absolutely get those for $1. And they're these. This is Justice Society of America number 78 and number 79. These are, like I said, Alex Ross covers from 2005 and 2006. Respectively, and they depict the original Flash and Our Man. So I just thought these were cool, guys. Alex Ross is obviously a fantastic artist, and for $1 each, absolutely worth picking these up. So these next two books I got from the same vendor. Nothing was priced, but I found out afterwards they were $1 each, and I was very happy about that. And here's the first one I got. This is Batman Adventures number 1 from 1992. And of course, this is the first comic book based off of the cartoon from the early 90s. Anyone who grew up in the early 90s, I'm sure, watched this cartoon. It was awesome. And for my money, guys, it's still probably the best DC thing to ever be made for TV or movies. It was awesome. Even my wife, who's not into comic books, used to always watch the show when she was a kid. So this is the first issue. You get the penguin right there on the cover. The best issue to get out of the series, of course, is number 12, first appearance of Harley Quinn in comic books. Alas, that was not in the box. But still, pretty happy to pick this one up for $1. And the other one, everyone knows what this book is. This is Spider-Man 2099, number 1, also from 1992. First appearance of Miguel O'Hara, aka Spider-Man 2099. A lot of people know about him right now because he was in the most recent Into the Spider-Verse movie. He's going to be in the second and the third movies, voiced by Oscar Isaac. I always loved the 2099 series. I just grew up during that time when they were all coming out. I've always loved this book. And this one's especially cool because it's a newsstand copy, which is definitely a little bit more rare. So I was thrilled to get this one for $1. And this isn't going to be the last Spider-Man 2099 book you see in this video. So I got the rest of these comic books all from the same place, the now famous comic book truck from Michigan owned by Jeff. The other Jeff, not Comic Spa Jeff. This is Comic Truck Jeff. It's going to get confusing. I will try to do my best. So Comic Truck Jeff is a guy from Michigan who bought an entire comic book store, and he has a warehouse full of the stuff, and every time there's a big flea market, he loads up this yellow moving truck and drives out to Massachusetts. So I got to meet him back in the spring Brimfield. I did a whole video all about him, and then my very last video, my first day at this summer session, I got some great deals from him. So here I am back a few days later. This time I brought Comic Spa Jeff to go through this truck and try to find some more deals. And man, did I end up with a pretty big stack. So let's go through these quick. This next book, this actual next two comic books, is one of those books that I buy every time I see it. I can't help it. And it is this. This is Spawn number 9 from 1993. Art by, of course, Todd McFarlane, written by Neil Gaiman. And this features the first appearance of the character Angela. I've talked about this book a million times on my channel. I love this book. I think the art is cool. I think Angela's really cool. And it's just one of those books, guys, whenever I find it for a good deal, I can't help but not get it. Let me know down in the comments if you guys have any books like that. A book that you always pick up no matter what, and you have like 10 copies of it. This is one of those books for me. So I was very happy to pick these up really cheap. I only got 2. I held myself back. He had like 6 copies of this. Another one he had tons of copies of was this. This is Simpsons Comics and Stories number 1, also from 1993. And this is the first comic book featuring stories of The Simpsons. Yeah, I've never had this book before. I obviously liked The Simpsons when I was a kid, but I've never owned this, and I like this one particularly more than the other ones he had because this one's still in the original poly bag with the Bartman poster in the back. So happy to pick this one up really, really cheap. You guys know I love my X-Men. This is a book I already own, but another book I gotta pick up because the cover is so awesome. This is Uncanny X-Men number 251. It's from 1989, of course, written by Chris Claremont, with this very iconic Mark Silvestri cover of Wolverine sort of crucified on this X. Awesome, awesome cover. Again, another book I always pick up when I can, and I think it's slightly better condition than the one I already have in my X-Men run. Happy to get that. Speaking of X-Men, not only do I collect Chris Claremont X-Men, I collect first appearances of X-Men characters. You guys saw this in the footage. This is X-Men number 205. This is chapter 5 of the Messiah Complex. It's from 2008, and this is the first appearance of the character Hope Summers. She appears in this as an unnamed baby. Now, Hope Summers is the so-called mutant messiah. She's supposedly this mutant that was going to usher in a new age for the mutants. And she's become a pretty big character since she first came out in 2008. She is the mutant messiah. She has the power, she has lots of powers, but her main one is that she can copy and amplify other powers of mutants that are near her. She was also raised by Cable in the future, so she's an incredible fighter and military tactician. Very cool character, been the center of many, many stories. Also a great cover right here with Mr. Sinister looming in the background. So as a collector of first appearances of X-Men, I've wanted this book for a while. Happy to find this in Jeff's back issues. Here's a good one. Daredevil number 174. This one here is from 1981, of course, by Frank Miller and Klaus Janson. I love the Frank Miller run on Daredevil, and this is one of my favorite covers he ever did. We have Daredevil fighting alongside Elektra and Gladiator. Great cover in its own right, but it's also green. I don't know what it is, guys, but I love green covers. You don't see them very often, and this one just pops and jumps out. So some Frank Miller Daredevil goodness. Absolutely couldn't say no to that. I always talk about how much I like the Spectre. You guys see some books back here. I found this one here. This is Spectre number 3. This one's from 1968. And this has some really awesome Neil Adams art. I love Neil Adams. I love Spectre. Could not possibly say no to this book. And for a book from 1968, it's actually in fantastic shape. Next up, we have another Spectre book. This one I already owned. I'm happy to pick up another one. This is Spectre number 8. This one's from 1969. This is a Nick Carty cover. Yeah, I already own this book, but it's in much poorer condition, so I was happy to get a higher condition one. Just excellent. Happy to pick that one up. Staying on this Spectre bandwagon, next up we have Weird Adventure Comics number 436. This one's from 1974, art by Jim O'Paro and Tatiana Wood. This whole sort of run of Weird Adventure Comics in this numbering feature stories of the Spectre, and I've been collecting all of them. I think I only have 1 or 2 left. And yeah, we get the Spectre in the background along with this like crazy like Kraken thing. You know, 1970s books, Spectre, Kraken, you know, the money practically leaps out of my wallet when I see a book like this. Had to pick this one up. And then I have a couple of Silver Age Green Lantern books. Comic Truck Jeff had lots of old Green Lantern books. They weren't really in great condition, but there were a couple that jumped out to me and I felt like getting. First up, we have Green Lantern number 47. This one's from 1966. We have a Gil Kane cover. This one features an early appearance of Dr. Polaris, the villain with the magnetic fist. So a pretty good Green Lantern villain. And yeah, I just like the cover and I thought it was pretty neat. But the one I was really excited for, I just mentioned I like Neil Adams, is this. So this is Green Lantern number 63. And this one is from 1968. Again, Neil Adams cover. Neil Adams did Green Lantern and then Green Arrow as well for years. One of his, you know, most well-known titles he worked on. Really happy to pick up some Neil Adams Green Lantern. I think this is a really cool cover as well. Very happy to pick this up. So I got all of these comic books from Comic Truck Jeff for a grand total of $80, which I think is a fantastic deal. But these weren't the only comic books I got from him because I was actually hunting through his stuff on an ulterior mission from Australia. See, the first time I met Jeff from Michigan was at the last Brimfield show back in the spring, and I wasn't alone. I was there with a gentleman named Chad who had flown all the way from Australia. So Chad had seen one of my earlier videos of hunting for comic books at Brimfield. He'd always wanted to go to the US and he thought this looked like a lot of fun. So he booked a ticket and he asked, you know, if he went, could I meet up with him? And I said, of course I will, if you're flying all the way from Australia. So that's what we did. We met up, we spent the day together, and he was just an awesome human being, just a really great guy. Yeah, he seemed to charm everyone who met him, including Jeff from Michigan. You know, he was there for multiple days, you know, built up a really good rapport with this guy, bought tons of comic books. So a few days before when I first saw Jeff from Michigan, he asked me, hey, how's Chad doing? Tell him I said hi. So I relayed that to Chad, and he responded back. He said, can I ask you for a huge favor? He said, if I sent you some money, could you buy a whole bunch of comic books from Jeff and mail them to me? And I said, sure. What do you want? And he said, I want Spider-Man 2099 number 1, early 90s Spider-Man, and some Chris Claremont X-Men books. So those are all things I like, and I'm like, I know Jeff has plenty of that. Sure, I will absolutely do that. So I have a huge stack of comic books here I got for Chad, you know, using his rough guidelines of what he wanted. I got to use my own discretion, but Jeff was in on it. He knew exactly what we were trying to do, so we wanted to put a really good package together for Chad. So let's start off with the X-Men books. Jeff actually forgot a lot of his X-Men boxes back in Michigan, so I only ended up with 2 I thought Chad would like. But don't worry, Chad, I have a whole bunch of extras from my own collection I'm going to send to you as a little surprise. So hopefully you enjoy those. He wanted Amazing Spider-Man. We had plenty of that. So here's Amazing Spider-Man number 265, the first appearance of Silver Sable. I got my very own copy of this book out of the same truck a few days before. Yeah, early 90s Spider-Man. He wanted some Venom as well. Well, you got it right here. This is Amazing Spider-Man number 375. This is the 30th anniversary of Spider-Man. Awesome Mark Bagley cover art of Venom fighting Spider-Man with this crazy foil cover. He mentioned he wanted Spider-Man 2099. You guys saw Jeff had a lot of those. In fact, he told me he had like 100 copies of Spider-Man 2099 back in his warehouse. So Chad, I ended up getting you 7 copies. I know these are a little bit more valuable down in Australia, so hopefully you enjoy these. A couple of bonuses. One of these had a number 2 issue in the back, and another one was newsstand. Pretty good. And finally, you know, he wanted early 90s Spider-Man. Nothing screams early 90s Spider-Man to me more than the Todd McFarlane run. So here we have Spider-Man number 1 by Todd McFarlane. These are all silver covers. I ended up getting 4 of them for you, Chad. But there is a surprise among these comic books, one that I didn't even notice until about half an hour ago. As I'm getting all these comic books ready to do this video, I noticed something on one of them right here. If you guys look closely, in a silver pen, it was hard to see because the cover's silver, there's a signature. And at first I was confused. I thought maybe that's Todd McFarlane, but he has a very iconic signature and it looked a little different. Well, I looked it up, and his signature wasn't always what we know and love. In the early 90s, he signed it just like this in the exact same spot on this comic book. I compared it to many other ones online, and sure enough, this is signed by Todd McFarlane. I am 100% sure of it. I didn't see it when I got it. Jeff didn't see when he got it. I just discovered it. So Chad, there's a fun little bonus for you. You were getting a Todd McFarlane signed Spider-Man number 1. Pretty awesome. So there you have it, guys. That was my final day hunting for comic books at the Summer Brimfield show. I got this whole comic haul for myself for a grand total of $85. That's the sort of deals we're looking for here at Lunch Money Comics. But I also got an awesome stack of comic books to send to a dear friend on the other side of the world, including this really cool Todd McFarlane signature. That was just an awesome surprise. And if you want to contact Jeff from Michigan with the comic book truck, there are 2 ways. One, you can meet up with him at the next Brimfield show, which is in September, or you can contact him directly in Michigan, and he gave me permission just to show his card right on the screen, so here it comes. Feel free to pause the video right now. If you do contact him, I ask you 2 things. 1, let him know I sent you, and 2, save some comic books for the rest of us. If you want to have the best comic book cleaner impressor work on your books, feel free to contact Jeff from Comic Spa. I always put his contact information down in my description. There you have it, guys. Head on down to the comments and let me know which of my pickups you like the best. And in the meantime, I hope you keep hunting for comic books in strange and unusual places as well. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you all next time.